Hello developers, welcome back to .NET Grown. In React, UI does not change because you change variables. UI changes because state changes. Did you understand? UI does not change because you change variables. If variable changes, so UI don't change. But if you change the states, UI can change. How? Two hooks control almost everything in React. Very important topic. So if you understand these two correctly, one is use state, another one is use effect, you understand how React actually works. Let's break them down using industry concepts and then implement everything step by step in Visual Studio Code. Okay, first part one we will see use state. Very important, listen carefully. So what is use state? Listen definition carefully. Use state is a React hook that allows a functional components to store state and trigger re-render when the state changes. Okay, keywords you must remember here in the definition you can see on the screen. One is state, another one is re-render, another one is the component. Okay, so again listen the definition carefully. React hooks that allows a functional component to store state and trigger a re-render when that state changes. Now, why use state exit? So, before use state, how it will be is React's re-render components only when the state or props change. Okay? So, example, if you see on the screen, right? Let count equal to 0, count equal to count plus 1. So value changes also, React does not re-render. So UI stays the same because React does not track normal variables. Remember this. They can ask the interviews, why can't I use normal variables? Instead of what? Use state. Then you have to tell them React does not track normal variables. Okay. Now, what state means in React? We said, right? Remember three words. What are that? State, re-render, component. Okay. So, in that, state is a data that represents the current UI. Okay. Example, counter value, logged in user, API response, form input, toggle state. If UI depends on a value, that value must be a state. Remember always this. If UI depends on a value, that value must be a state. Okay. Then how to use, how use state works. So you can see on the screen how that value const count set count use state. So use state, this word is very important. So here understand count is the current state value. Current state value. Set count is schedule a state update. What is the updated value? That is. So React re-renders a component with a new state. You never update state directly. You request React to update state. Okay. Remember? Okay. Now this is so now we will see use state how we can do. Okay. Just an example I am showing in the app.js. Okay. So let me go to open app.js. So this is the we did existing code, right? I am removing everything. You understand that, okay? You understand very carefully. So I am writing import, okay? So use state, okay, from React, okay? From React because use state are that. Now I'm creating one function. That function I will return, okay? So very simple. You see how I am writing function app, okay? So this function I need to return, right? So how to return this? Very important. Oh, sorry, we wrote it here, right? It is separate. Okay. So we need to return. How to return this function? Export default. What is that? App. Export default app. Okay. So we will export this like this. Now here I will declare const. So whatever we see on the screen, right? How to write? See, const. Okay. One is what count, another one is set count. Count, comma. So shall I use the same variable? No, you can use any variable, but I am telling one is current value, another one is the future value. Okay, set count. Okay, next to equal to what? Use state. Use state of J. Okay, so just I used this. Okay, so now I declared that use state. Okay. I need to return that, right? So how we can return? Okay, that also we will write it. Return. So how we will return? So what some value like latest count and all we can return that. Okay. So I will return that. So I'm creating one div. So always because we cannot directly write everything under div. We discussed in our previous call, right? So I will take h1. Okay. So here h1 you can write count. So we can print that count colon same thing. However we use that. What is that? That variable count. Okay. That's it. So now we completed this, right? H1 also we completed everything. Okay. So you can close this. Every statement should end with semicolon. Okay. This is the way you write it. Use state. So use state is very important. Use state is very important. React renders UI state value shown. State value is shown. Okay. So you always remember this basic syntax. So update, how we can do update a state directly is example I will show that. So one button click, so that we can write. So here only I'm for actually here only I'm writing. You remember this. So how we can write a button on click. So whenever set count will do right, automatically it will increment. So set count equal to count plus 1. So set count whatever new value. Okay. So this is the way. Okay. What happens internally? Okay, you listen that this set count, whatever this set count is there, right? So set count is called React schedules a re-render value, components runs against UI update within new state. So common industry mistakes, a lot of people what they do is I seen that. So they write simply like so count plus 1, count equal to count plus 1. No, you have to write the way is this is the way. So this is the way you write it. Okay, this is the way you write it. You always remember that. Okay. States update or asynchronous. React controls when re-render happens. Re-render happen. Okay. Now we will see next topic use effect. Okay. So now understand very carefully. Use effect is very important. Okay. Use effect. What is use effect? Use effect is a React hook used to run side effects after rendering and to control when those affected execute based on dependencies. Again, listen. Use effect is a React hook used to run side effects after rendering and to control when those effects execute based on dependencies. Understand anything? Nothing, right? We will see on practical. So, what side effects first? You mentioned, right? Side effects are operations outside rendering logic, such as API calls, timers, event listeners, DOM manipulation, subscriptions. Okay. Industry rule, you always remember rendering must be pure. Side effects must be controlled. Okay. You remember this word. Rendering must be pure. Side effects must be controlled. Why use effects exist? Without to control, API call run repeatedly. Infinite loops happen. Performance degrades, right? So with use effect, separate rendering from side effects. Control when side effects runs. Now, how use effects will work? How use effects will work? See, I am showing that just here only. So this is the way the use effect will work. So these are the side effects. Whatever inside is there, right? We can call it as a side effects. So use effect. So this is the way. Okay, what are dependencies? You can pass it. Okay. So industry interpret React renders components, right? So after render, effects runs. Dependency array controls every execution. Okay. Now, node dependency array. Suppose if there are three ways we can call. Rule one, node dependency array. We will see that. How the node dependency. So this is actually dependency, right? Without a dependency, how it will be. See, this way also you can call. So without a dependency, this is the first one. Second one is empty dependency array. With the empty dependency array also you can call how it is. That also we will see that. See, you can observe that. Okay. So these are very important. Equivalent to component did mount. Okay. Ideal for API calls. So this is okay. Remember all this. So number three, dependency based execution. So we seen that also, right? How it will be. So there are three ways you can do that. One is without a dependency array, another one is with empty dependency array, another one is with a dependency array. Okay, you always remember this. Okay, now we will see how that we can create that. Okay, so I'm creating one component user.jsx. Let me create a new file. So user.jsx. Okay, so you can create this. Now here we can, I already wrote that code. See what I did, import useEffect, useState both from React. Okay, so const users, set users, useState. Okay, I used that. So useEffect. So useEffect is very important here. You see that fetch. So from API call we are calling this. This is the API call. Then reset JSON and then set user data. What we will do with empty array. Okay. So after that we will return that whatever the UI it will come, right, we will return that. Okay. So user ID, user dot username, whatever it will return this. Okay. So that we will export that. So this is the way we will use that. So you have to practice more on this. You have to practice more on this. Then only you will get it. Okay. So then another way also you can do that. Okay. Now we already seen that. So example I will show one production way how you can do that. Okay, that also you can do that. So use effect I used that here also. So how we do that with the dependency. So that also we will return that. That also we will return that. You saw, right? So this is the way you can do that. Okay. So you always remember these all things. Now most common production bug how it can is, you see that I will show that also. Just I'm showing here. So use effect set count plus one count. Okay, this will go infinite loop. State update re-render. Dependency changes, effects runs again. Infinite loop. Okay. Don't do this type of coding always. Okay. Because here whatever you do, you will update again. Again, it is going to keep on that. Okay. So you always avoid this type of variables. Okay. Then final, you always remember use state will use for manage state. Use effect will use for manage side effects. Okay, pops and renders we will use pops will for input to component. Re-render we will use UI recalculation. Okay, never ask why didn't React update the UI. Ask instead, did state or pops changes correctly or not. Okay. If you understand use state and use effect at this level, you are already think like a React developer in the industry. Okay, thank you friends, thank you all.